Later, thank you.
Time now, 6:49. Britain's first new nuclear power station in a generation will happen, but details of how it's funded have been pushed back again.
Yes, we're talking about Hinkley Point in Somerset, of course. Victoria has got more details. Morning again.
Yeah, good morning to you both. A bit of a tongue twister, isn't it? New nuclear. Yeah, we're talking about Hinkley Point. It's the biggest and the riskiest energy infrastructure project in British history. EDF, it's the French state-owned energy firm, is committing £18 billion to build it. That is a lot of cash by anyone's standards. It's actually more than the cost of the Heathrow Terminal 5 and the London Olympics combined. Now, this first project was announced about 8 years ago, and it's supposed to be generating power for us within a decade. But even though all parties involved have committed to making it happen, the decision as to when it actually gets built has stalled. This is what the boss told MPs in Westminster yesterday.
I will start by saying clearly and categorically that Hinkley Point C will go ahead. And that's good news for the UK.
That's Vincent de Rivaz there. Now, listening to that with me is Dave Cockshott, who is from Inenco. Dave, good to see you this morning. Now, Vincent de Rivaz's company, EDF, is committed to finding about 2/3 of the funding for this. We know what the former finance director thought of all this. He voted with his feet and he left. So, if everyone is saying that this is going to go ahead, why is it going to go ahead? But given that EDF don't look like they can afford it.
Yeah, so if this was a commercial decision, it wouldn't be getting built. If this was just a standalone decision, no way. But there's the political element to it, there's the Kyoto commitment to the decarbonisation, and it's a big, big chunk of power that actually this government will have to find generated from other sources if nuclear doesn't go ahead. So it's a political consideration, not just a financial one.
Now, the British government has got itself in a bit of a pickle, hasn't it, over this, because it's committed to us paying almost 3 times the current cost of electricity for this project. It's locked consumers in for 35 years. But do you think it's right that we would be comparing today's price of electricity with, you know, the price that we might see in 2060, for example?
And that's the point. Today, it is almost treble the price of wholesale power right now, so it appears really expensive. But, of course, we have got to factor it in. It is a 35-year horizon for the generation, and it's not starting for 10 years, so there's quite a long period of time there. And it's also this concept of the risk of building it. The government was clear that it did not want to take the risk of building this. So if EDF or anybody else are building nuclear fleets, they're going to want to get rewarded for taking that risk of building the plant.
But even though we don't have any exposure to this, we do insofar as the government has underwritten the Chinese investment in this.
Yeah, this is not completely risk-free for us. There's about 7 billion, I beg your pardon, pounds that the Chinese have put into this. The UK government is underwriting that element of this build cost.
Now, the Energy Secretary, Amber Rudd, is making a speech today in Kent, and she's going to be saying that we are better off in the EU in terms of our energy policy. We've got a project here that's being run by the French government. We've got Chinese money. To that end, does this suggest that there's a vulnerability or a weakness in terms of Britain's future energy policy?
Well, in or out of Europe, we're part of a global economy. Most of our assets are owned by either European or indeed other international players. So actually, the two things that are really going to impact us for energy prices in terms of in or out is the strength of the pound, because oil's priced in dollars, so that will have an impact on whether or not we can, whether prices go up, and also the stability, because investors will want stability. That's the main factor that will affect whether or not we get investment and whether or not our energy prices will go up or not.
OK, Dave, we're going to leave it there, but thank you very much. Now, so the Energy Secretary is saying that leaving the EU would drive consumer bills up by 500 million a year. Now, the Vote Leave campaign says her claims are absurd and the EU is actually making our bills more expensive. So no doubt the debate over how and where we get our energy is going to continue to rumble on.
Sure it will, Victoria. Thank you very much.